Welcome to Youth Doc. My name's Rick Harris. I'm a 30-year veteran in youth ministry. I'm married, been married for 40 years. I've got 4 adult children and I have 6 grandchildren. I have a bachelor's in church ministries with an emphasis in youth ministry. I have a master of religious education and I have a doctorate of ministries with a focus on pastoral leadership. I've served in rural churches, I've served in inner city churches, and I've served in middle class churches, kind of the normal neighborhood church over these last 30 some years. I served in one church for a little over 7 years. I served in another church for 12 years. I've been in my current church now for 2 years. I was hired at the current church where I'm at now at 59 years old for student ministries. So why would I want to start a YouTube channel? What would be the motivation with all the channels that are out there? I've always had a dream to invest in student ministry someday. When I was going to college and even seminary, I dreamed about someday teaching. And at that time, I was thinking about the concept of a seminary or a college aspect of being able to teach. After years and years of local church experience, I felt like that one of the things we really needed within the teaching structure was local church experience, turning around then and investing in the other youth ministers that are out there. Heading to a local college or a local seminary never happened. And in that, I've been in the local church, still putting in those years, once again, 30 years of experience. And so the idea of being able to teach using YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms is an excellent opportunity to meet the goal that I had, which was to teach youth ministers after years of experience, but to be able to do it not in an academic setting, but in a social media setting. So I felt like this would be a good avenue to be able to meet that, to accomplish that goal. So then the question comes, why would you subscribe then? What makes this channel worth subscribing to? And I want to encourage you to subscribe if you like what you've heard in this video as well as videos develop. I would love for you to consider subscribing. Well, first, and for me, over the years, I've never had a real big budget. First, it's free. The church that I'm working at right now pays me. So I'm not looking at other money. I'm not looking to try to create a revenue stream, so to speak, at least not at this stage and not at your expense. I want it to be free channel that you can access what I hope will be some good quality material. Another reason to subscribe is my 30 years experience. I'm bringing to you a host of experience that's connected to an average sized church, not a mega church. I've had churches that have been as small as 5 when we started in the youth group, with churches that we ran 70 plus in the student ministry. And so I've been on the full range. Right now, my student ministry that I'm serving at is about 25 to 30. So I would consider that kind of that larger to average size youth ministry. So you're not looking at a guy who's been running a youth ministry of 200, 300 and that has people underneath that's working for him and the such. That's not where God has called me or placed me. I have had in my youth ministry a couple opportunities to at least be considered for some of those mega churches where, based on my experience and my ability to manage and organize, I'd been in management before I went into ministry. I've had a couple people approach me. One was a pastor, one was a seminary professor who was active in a church, approached me about sending a resume to their church. And at that stage, my heart just wasn't in going to that size church. I've wanted to be in the trenches with the teenagers. And I'm not saying a mega church is a bad thing, and I think there's guys that do a great job in a mega church. But I'm telling you, the average guy in the trenches of youth ministry is a guy who's in a church running about 25 to 30 kids. And so I'm right there with you. So my experience has been right there with you, which hopefully I can bring a little bit of knowledge and maybe even a little bit of wisdom to some of the things that we'll be dealing with and discussing on this channel. And then I have a strong desire to just help other churches. I believe in the body of Christ. God has called me to a local church, and I believe in the local church, but I also believe in the body of Christ. And throughout my years, as God has blessed me to be in what I would consider medium-sized churches where they're paying my salary at a full-time level, I've had a heart for those guys that are in the trenches that are part-time, that aren't in very big churches, those that are in average-sized churches even. But I've had this heart, and then I've had a heart to help in a variety of different ways of youth ministry. And so we've tried to reach out in so many different ways to touch the lives of others in other churches. So my commitment has not been just to my local church, but to other churches. And a couple of those things, my wife, who also is right by my side for so many things, has started on the East Coast, a conference for young ladies called Blessed Girl Teen Conference. And that whole heartbeat is just to reach out to other churches, not just our girls, but other churches. I started also, because we're in the East Coast, I also started a winter retreat called Winter Fusion at Virginia Beach, Virginia, because I have a heartbeat for other churches. We also are involved in a church that cooperates to create a camp called Fusion Camp. I also have done D-Now weekends where I've brought in the program personalities and encouraged and worked with some other churches for them to bring their students to our D-Now, where I do most of the hard work, and they set up their own homes and their own small groups. So they still have their own youth group identity right in the middle of those D-Now weekends that I'm willing to host because God has blessed me for a full-time youth position. So those are some things that just show I have a heart for other churches. And this YouTube channel is just another aspect of that heart, trying to reach out to care about other churches. So the last reason to subscribe would be for encouragement in youth ministry. And this is what I'm thinking in terms of encouragement. I've been doing youth ministry since I was 27 years old. I'm 62 years old right now. So I've been doing youth ministry a long, long time. In that, I would think just that would help to encourage you that when those little voices in your head that says you're getting too old, are you sure you can still do this? Do you know anybody else who's still out there doing church ministry in a local way is out there? You can say, yeah, I know one guy. I subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's still out there in the trenches at a local church, still doing youth ministry at 62 years old. I can remember when I was heading to school. This is right when I was getting ready to get started. So I was 24 years old. I was getting ready to get started in college. God had called me to ministry. I'd come back to that calling and getting ready to get my act together and go to school. And I'm riding up with a guy that I really respected. He was launching a church at the time. Back then we would use the term church planning. And I'm riding up with him, and when he asked, what are you going to do, Rick? I said, well, I'm going to be a youth minister. God's called me into youth ministry, and so that's what I'm going to focus on. I still remember he looked at me and said, you need to do something else with your education, though. He said, how many guys do you know that are actively and effective in youth ministry at 30 years old? Well, at that time, it only gave me after I graduated from college, it only gave me 3 years to do youth ministry, and I'm going, I really don't know anybody like that I could think of. And definitely if you had to push it to 40, it would have only given me 13 years. I'm going, I wouldn't have known very many. I do know a lot of guys are in their 40s now for sure, some guys that are in their 50s, and a few that are in their 60s. What I'm saying is this, that in those days, and from that point on, kind of that seed planted in my brain in the back, that when do you age out? When do you age out? And I've still got that in the back of my mind. At 62 years old. When do I age out? When am I too old? Right now I've told my pastor I'm looking to be here till I'm 67 at least, and then I'll pray about it. That's my thought. But if you're 30, 35, 40 years old, you know that voice is in the back of your head. I talk to guys that have that voice in the back of their head, asking themselves, when do I age out? When is it time to shift gears? And if God's called you to youth ministry, there is no time to shift gears until God releases you and puts you in a different location. But being able to watch this YouTube channel, see that on a regular basis, to me, I just can't see that can't be encouragement to you to keep doing what God has called you to do. My first probably 2 sessions, I'm going to deal with my doctoral thesis, which was the process of aging in youth ministry. And so we're going to look at that. I think it'll be very informative. The times I've presented it have been very, very good feedback from those that have been there, that I really kind of nailed them and where they're at in that process. But the concept is this: what do you look like at 30, at 40, at 50, and at 60 in youth ministry. Because based in the world of developmental psychology, and then for this, some survey work that I did with youth ministers at various ages, and brought together these characteristics of aging that are some generalities, and I know that some of those aren't going to fit exactly, but I think you'll really appreciate the time. So I would encourage you to check in on that first session. It'll be coming up very shortly. Looking to launch by June 1st, this channel officially. This is kind of an unofficial introduction video. I'd like to thank you for watching. My prayer is that you enjoyed what you heard today, that's kind of caught your attention, that you will look to see that first session, see how you like it, see if maybe this is something you want to subscribe to. Matter of fact, you may want to subscribe to just this, the concept of what the channel is going to be. I would love to see some subscribers pop up for this. My heartbeat is to reach out and touch and help youth ministers at the local church. So if that interests you, click the subscribe button. It'd be great to know that I've got some new subscribers right away. So you'll get notification when new things come up on the YouTube channel. You'll be right there ready to watch, ready to be involved. And definitely when I start doing some YouTube live, that there can be some great interaction between me and you.